Welcome back. Now, the UK house building industry is dominated by a small number of very large firms. The so-called volume builders account for around 70% of all homes built, with smaller firms having been squeezed out over recent years. In November, Community Secretary Michael Gove wrote to the Competition and Markets Authority asking the regulator to consider investigating if this market dominance by large builders was harming potential home buyers. Now, the CMA has said that it will launch the first official probe into the house building industry since 2008. Joining me now, who else? It's our business and economics editor. It's Liam Halligan with On the Money. Homes, Liam.
Quite a niche story, Patrick, but one I've been writing about for many, many years, and I think it's important. That's why I'm bringing it to you. Let's have a look at a graph here, which really conveys to me the shortage of homes in the UK. In the 1950s, we built 2.8 million homes in that decade, 3.6 million in the 1960s, including lots of council houses, down to 2.5 in the 70s. But look at the 80s, 1.8, the 90s, 1.6, the 2000s, 1.5. From 2010 to 2020, 1.1 million homes. Fewer and fewer homes being built, even though the population has been getting bigger. There is a shortage of homes, Patrick. And this is what Michael Gove wrote to the CMA about, the Competition and Markets Authority. He said something that I believe, which is that the big volume builders are building too few homes in order to deliberately keep prices high. We want to deliver the homes communities need where they want them, said Michael Gove. And to do that, we need a market that offers a level playing field so smaller home builders get a look in, not just the big developers. And he went on to say, Michael Gove, that's why I asked the CMA to consider a study on the house building market, and I'm delighted that their board has confirmed that they will. The government will always stand up for first-time buyers and make sure any recommendations made by the CMA are put into action. What's really going on here? Somebody as senior in government as Michael Gove thinks the big volume builders, building more than 2,500 homes a year, that now dominate the market. A lot of the small house builders folded after the 2008 financial crisis. They lost their land. They were consolidated into the big builders. Gove thinks, the House of Lords Economic Affairs Select Committee thinks, I think, lots of analysts think that these big house builders, they will deny it, are not building enough homes deliberately to keep prices high. So homes are more expensive than they need to be because the homes are being drip-fed onto the market. Where's the evidence for that? There are over 1 million planning permissions that have been granted that haven't been built.
Oh, really?
Because they happen to be sitting often with these big firms who then don't use all of them or use them very, very, very slowly. And when you get massive demand for homes, you know, young people like you, with all respect, with your partner trying to buy a home, you know how difficult it is. Mad prices, when you've got this huge demand and supply not reacting to that demand, you get higher prices. So the accusation is that the big house builders, they will deny, make higher profits by deliberately building too few homes. That is what the CMA, I hope, is going to investigate. Well,
and realistically, what can be done about this? I mean, can you hold a metaphorical gun to the head and force them to build more homes? Use up the planning applications, I suppose.
Well, you can incentivise, I wrote about this in my book, Home Truths, you can incentivise them not to sit on planning permissions. So if you haven't used a planning permission, like actually delivered the home in 2 years, you start paying council tax if you're the house builder on that home, even if it doesn't exist, right? That's one idea. Another thing you can do is what's called antitrust. I mean, governments in the past, even in this country, have deliberately forced companies to break up if they've got too much market power and the regulator thinks there are so-called restrictive practices going on. Again, I must stress, the big house builders are often listed companies, law-abiding companies. They would deny all wrongdoing. Having said that, the Secretary of State, Michael Gove, has called the big house builders a cartel, right, which is a very loaded term. Again, they would deny that. I would stress, Your Honour, they're not here to say what they think, so I'm saying on their behalf they deny all wrongdoing. The big house builders would say they have to have lots of planning permissions because they have to build up a pipeline of supply. That's how they make their business run. And they would say, I'm sure, that this idea of a CMA inquiry into our house builders, the first since 2008, is misguided and wrong.
Well, there you go, Liam. Thank you very, very much. Liam Halligan there, economics and business editor.